How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another edition of The Opinion. And let's get right into it. Let's talk about Ryan Garcia and the card that was supposed to be so great, but turned it out to kind of be a dud in all facets that you can think of. Let's first talk about Ryan Garcia getting upset, probably the upset of the year at this point, getting upset by Rolando Romero. And Rolly Romero was a fighter that coming into this fight had probably lost his last 2 to 3 fights. Got beat by Pitbull Cruz. We all know he's got beat by Tank. The fight with Tank is kind of what put him on the map. He really probably got beat by Ishmael Barroso, but he was gifted that by the referees. And everybody just assumed, even myself, we assumed that, hey, based off what we saw from Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, although albeit, he took a year off, that Ryan Garcia was eventually going to catch Rolly Romero with the left hand hook, and it was going to be over with. That's not what happened. Ryan Garcia, he started off kind of good the first round, working behind the jab. Didn't really ever get to that left hand hook. Don't know where it was. Guy wouldn't let his hands go. Although it looked like he had the faster hands, he looked like he was bigger than Rolly Romero. He had the longer reach. Seems like at times he had the better footwork, but I don't know. It seems like Ryan Garcia at this point he's just a waste of talent. And in the second round, Rolly Romero dropped Ryan Garcia, and from that moment, once he got dropped, he was afraid to let his hands go. He basically just tried to work behind the jab, or basically just didn't work at all. The fight kind of ended up being boring. I wouldn't even say that Ryan Garcia got beat up per se, but Ryan Garcia did get outpointed in this fight. I scored the fight 17 to 110 for Rolly Romero. Rolly Romero Rolly Romero just landed the more cleaner shots, not really any devastating blows other than the knockdown. But Rolly Romero won. Rolly Romero fought a smart fight, and he was able to keep Ryan Garcia from utilizing that left hand hook as well. And so when you look at this fight, now everybody goes back to the Devin Haney fight, which came with a lot of controversy. Ryan Garcia got popped for steroids. He obviously was not on steroids this time, and he lost. And now people are going to say, hey, this is what you get when Ryan Garcia is not on steroids. The guy can't win. And it's kind of hard to argue that. I mean, how do you go from, looking like you did versus Devin Haney to now you fight Rolly Romero, who a lot of people don't consider to be that good, and you got beat. Not only did you get beat, you looked horrible doing it. You wouldn't let your hands go. You gave Bill Haney all of the ammunition now. And Bill Haney said before the fight, if you watch the press conference, the final press conference, Bill Haney said that main event, it's not such a done deal. Rolly Romero's coming to fight. And Bill Haney, once again, he's correct. He's correct. So if you're Ryan Garcia, at this point, I'm just wondering, is this just a waste of talent? Because when you start looking at guys in the past who were a waste of talent, you start thinking of, to a degree, Zab Judah. But, to put Ryan Garcia and Zab Judah in the same sentence, Zab Judah at least beat good fighters. He at least accomplished a lot more than what Ryan Garcia has accomplished, and basically what Ryan Garcia probably looks to accomplish in his career. You start looking at guys like maybe an Adrian Broner, who seemed to have all the talent, hand speed, foot speed. He was able to talk noise. He's able to sell a fight. Same like Ryan Garcia, but he has all the talent, but he can't put it together. And so the one thing that you can never measure in sports is what somebody has right between the ears, and that's up here and right here. And Ryan Garcia doesn't have either one. So at this point, I'm gonna assume that Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia Part 2 is off. There's no way you can put that fight on this year in September or October, whenever they were planning to put that fight on, because the fight's not gonna sell. And I believe they said the fight's over in Saudi Arabia. At first, I thought that that was a bad idea. That might actually be a good idea to have the fight on way over there, because I don't think people want to see that fight. And Devin Haney didn't look good himself. And let's transition now and talk about the card. I want to close this video out just by talking about the card. This was a card that everyone was excited about, you know, a boxing in Times Square, a venue, or basically something that we haven't seen before, because we're used to seeing big boxing matches and big cards in stadiums, sometimes outside stadiums, but most of the time inside stadiums, you know, Madison Square Garden, MGM Grand, T-Mobile Arena, Crypto, you know, formerly, you know, Staples Center. You know, we're used to seeing, you know, boxing in venues like that. And so they sold this fight as a fight that was going to be open to the public, and basically there were going to be about 300, you know, paid, you know, seats. But then, you know, because it's in Times Square, you can just show up. Is, you know, you just kind of like first come first serve, first come first serve. You show up, you stand around the ring, and you can watch the fight. And from a fan perspective, I'll put it like this: if you were one of those fans that are planning on showing up and standing, if you bought a ticket to fly to New York thinking you were going to do that, and you got what you got, which was looking at a red wall, a high red fence wall that you couldn't see over, and then they basically sequestered the rest of the fans off in Times Square away from the ring where they had to watch it on TV, I'd be highly upset if, and I'm pretty sure there was somebody out there that probably did that. Somebody probably flew to New York thinking, hey, I'm gonna experience this Times Square thing, and it was nothing like what they sold us. Nothing like what they sold us. Now, I give Turki Al-Sheikh credit for coming up with the idea, and granted, yes, I understand New York and the law enforcement officials, they, you know, obviously security reasons, there's tons of people that walk in and out of Times Square, so you can't just have an open door of just people just walking in and out without being able to control the crowd and obviously control who's coming, who's going, knowing who's coming in and who's going. So I get it from that perspective, but that's not what they sold us. And so we were sold snake oil based on from a fan perspective what the atmosphere was going to be like as well. The crowd was very underwhelming because there really wasn't much of a crowd that was right there ringside to actually watch the fight. The fights themselves were underwhelming. Obviously, the main event kind of underwhelming with Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia, but the Devin Haney fight, very, very underwhelming. Teofimo was the only one that really showed up. He was the only one that showed up, looked good doing it. Devin Haney didn't look good. Ryan Garcia got upset. He didn't look good. The whole card, like I said, it was a good idea, but out of a 10, I'd give the card a 3. I mean, I would. I mean, the whole card was very underwhelming. And this is just kind of what you get with Turki. I mean, I commend Turki for trying, and Turki's done some great things, but Turki seems to fall very, very short from a lot of things that people put him up to be. I mean, do you guys remember whenever pay-per-views were supposed to be $29? What happened to that? They charged $60 for this one, and guess what? You basically have the Canelo fight coming up. You have the Canelo fight coming up on Saturday, and they're going to charge $60 for that. Or you can buy them in a bundle, and the bundle's about $80, $89 for the bundle. So whatever happened to charging $29? Remember, everybody said, oh, PBC's charging $80 and $90. Turki's going to charge $29. He's going to corner the market. Well, whatever happened to that? So that's what I'm saying. Turki, he has a lot of great ideas, but it seems like he basically delivers on what is promised as well. So I thought the card was was lackluster, and you know, the Canelo card actually has a chance to be the better card when it's all said and done. Who would have ever said that, you know, a month ago, or basically 2 or 3 months ago, when this idea of boxing in Times Square was first pitched? So I don't ever want to see boxing in Times Square again if it's going to be like that, which it probably will. So I don't ever want to see that again. It was a good idea, but let's just stick to what we know. Let's just stick to the stadiums where where basically the fans can basically get excited about fights and other than that. But let me know what you guys think about Ryan Garcia. Where does he go from here? What did you think of the overall boxing card? Were you disappointed? Did you pay for the pay-per-view? Did you waste money on it? It probably didn't live up to the hype. Leave your comments down below. And other than that, I am out.